Hello everyone, and today I am doing something kind of special. I am drawing a Dungeons & Dragons character. This is my boyfriend's character. The character's name is Gomek, and he is a paladin. So I really like Dungeons & Dragons. I'll just start off by saying that. I really enjoy the process of character building and exploring and getting to roleplay and all of these fun things. I've had a passive or active interest in the hobby for a couple years now. I'm not super the best at knowing everything about it, but I have been playing for several years now, on and off. My friends and I are starting a new session, and of course, as the only person who does kind of consistent character art very often in the group, and several of them don't do visual art at all, they've kind of recruited me to draw their characters. But I found that this is really fun because I actually really enjoy the process of taking someone's ideas of their character and then bringing them to life if they don't have those kind of skills to be able to do it themselves. A lot of times, Dungeons & Dragons is fairly easy because there's a lot of things that are kind of shorthand no matter what in the game. Like a wizard is going to do certain things, a paladin's going to do certain things. There's going to be maybe typical looks, but if someone is more imaginative, if they come up with ideas that are a little bit different from what everybody thinks those types of characters are, then that leaves me a lot of room to play around and kind of make these cool adjustments to the character design. But a lot of times it's pretty easy to take someone's character request or idea and turn it into something that they envision. I've done several commissions for people who aren't in my group as well, and I actually really enjoy doing character commissions for Dungeons & Dragons. As a special, I do it all in one special style, a kind of watercolory style. I like to use this watercolor style because it can get done pretty fast, but it also looks kind of like a storybook in a way to me, and so I think that that's really cool for creating this sort of fantasy illustration of a character while also not being so complex that it takes forever to push out, because a lot of times people are kind of more interested in concept art of their characters than they are a fully fleshed, super hyper realistic portrait. For a lot of my digital art in the recent past, I have been using the Kyle brush set. I've been using the Mega Pack and the Watercolor Brushes, and both of those are just awesome for creating these pseudo-traditional looking textures. It's pretty obvious still, I think, that they're digital, particularly in the way that I use them, but they can be very convincing if you are attentive to the way in which you do them. But part of that is the way that these watercolor brushes lay down color. It's using the multiply setting on the brush, which basically makes them darker than anything that you put them over. So a lot of times if I'm doing a character and a background, I have to put down a white layer in order to have the watercolors be true to color when I start coloring the character over top of the background. But they're very nice because they behave a lot like real watercolors. You can play around with pushing them around the character and leaving your brush somewhere for a second to sort of soak the color back up. It's very fascinating how you can program something like that into a digital art form. For me, I really like the canvas texture that is a part of these brushes. It adds a lot to illustrations that might be a little too boring without it, and it takes something that is kind of simplistic and gives it a little more of an interesting edge. And so for that reason, I think they're great for doing quick character designs because it's not a ton of effort and skill on my part, I guess, but it still looks kind of decent for people who want to have a mental image of their character that they can rely on when they're playing the game. So for this character, he is a paladin, as I mentioned, and the design is largely coming from my boyfriend who gave me directions. And I want to note to people who might not commonly do commissions or requests or something like that, but as you get more serious about your art and you start to accept payment for your art or have a standard that you would want people to be willing to pay you for your art. A lot of that process is not just in making your best image, but also being good at listening to what your client wants. So, for example, a lot of these design elements like the really long sword, the gunmetal gray and lack of shininess, more of a satin texture on the armor, and the style of helmet are things that I wouldn't have chosen myself for a paladin character because I don't find them that appealing in terms of what I like to draw, but I still did them based off of the specifications. And so learning how to be versatile and to take direction no matter what is super crucial for becoming a competent commission-based artist. Here's the final image. I am pretty pleased with it for a quick little character design. If you're interested in this style of drawing and you want to get something done for your Dungeons & Dragons character, let me know because I love doing these and I have pretty quick turnaround time with them. Or if not, and you just want to see more of my artwork, how about you hit that subscribe button and stick around and see what I can pump out. That sounds weird. Stick around and see what I can create. How about that one instead? I suck at voiceovers. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Goodbye!